Hello, I'm Wes Turnbull, and welcome to Freemasons The Inside Story. In this episode, we visit the Freemasons Victoria Scholarship presentation. All that and more on Freemasons The Inside Story.
Freemasonry is the largest fraternal organisation in the world that promotes moral and personal development amongst its members. Founded in 1889, the United Grand Lodge of Victoria has over 12,000 members, with the vision of being an integral part of the Victorian community. Its principles and the teachings enshrine the importance of practising charity, not only towards its own members, but equally to those in the community. The Board of Benevolence, formally established in 1889, began with a personal donation of £500 by the Grand Master of the time, Sir William Clark. The Board of Benevolence continued through annual financial contributions from every member from Freemasons Victoria. Freemasons Victoria Scholarships through the Board of Benevolence annually awards in excess of $250,000 in recognition of academic excellence. The scholarships and bursaries currently on offer are awarded to assist students with fees for further education. Along with these annual scholarships, the Board of Benevolence aims to develop its benevolent and charitable activities and projects to ensure members, their families and the community are well supported. In addition to the Board of Benevolence, the Freemasons Victoria Public Charitable Foundation was established in 1989 in honour of the United Grand Lodge's 100th anniversary. The foundation raises funds from the general public as well as from Freemasons to assist and provide support to a wide variety of groups and organisations. Freemasons Victoria is regularly involved in supporting not only our own members in need, but also in disaster relief, strategic charitable partnerships and a range of local and statewide community projects. Last year alone, the Board of Benevolence granted over $700,000 to scholarships, community groups and charities, and the Public Charitable Foundation a further $300,000. These funds have assisted charitable groups and organisations across Victoria, including Ladder, an independent non-profit organisation tackling youth homelessness, Second Bite, who provides surplus, fresh, nutritious food for those in need, Family Life, who work in assisting families of children and young people through counselling, mediation, mental health services and community education services. And finally, Waverley Industries, a non-for-profit organisation aimed at providing employment opportunities to people with special needs. Over the last 4 years, Freemasons Victoria have been proud to sponsor Melbourne Youth Music, providing grants to the value of $225,000. Since 1967, Melbourne Youth Music has been enriching young lives through the power of music. 45 years later, they continue to grow our community on a reputation of excellence, developing the best in young people, unleashing creativity and empowering tomorrow's leaders through dedication and teamwork. The Think Pink Foundation has been another major partner over the past 4 years, with Freemasons Victoria funding over $300,000 for the engagement of a specialist breast cancer recovery nurse at the Think Pink Living Centre. The Living Centre has supported hundreds of breast cancer patients and their families by providing professional and caring holistic support, completely and free of charge at any stage of their journey with breast cancer. In addition, the wives and partners of the Grand Lodge ceremonial teams have held annual functions which have raised a further $200,000 for breast cancer research, programs and outfitting oncology units at the Epworth Freemasons Hospital. Freemasons Victoria collectively contributes around $2 million per year to worthy causes around the state. The true benefit of this can only be realised through the great work of these organisations, demonstrating that our principles make a difference.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the annual Freemasons Victoria Scholarship presentation. My name is Peter Henschel and I will be your Master of Ceremonies for this evening. Tonight is the culmination of a great deal of dedicated work which has been done by members of the Board of Benevolence, its Scholarship Committee and members of the Grand Secretariat of Freemasons Victoria. Without their individual and collective efforts, we'd not be able to present to you tonight scholarships to over 100 students in excess of $250,000 to encourage and reward academic achievement. The scholarship program has been in existence in one form or another since 1912, when Arthur Green received the inaugural King Edward VII Scholarship. Since that time, Freemasons Victoria has awarded scholarships to the value, in today's terms, of in excess of $7.5 million. Freemasonry is very proud of its benevolent record and community contribution. It's now my pleasure to invite to the stage the President of the Board of Benevolence, Very Worshipful Brother Frank Fordyce, to present the first round of scholarships. The next scholarship is the Eliezer Benedykt Memorial Scholarship for Music. This scholarship, which was established 12 years ago by Worshipful Brother Eliezer's sons Simon, Hillel and Ron, is a scholarship of $1,500 per annum, which is awarded to an applicant who is attending or who has qualified to be admitted as a student at tertiary level to a school of music approved by the Scholarships Committee. Could I now invite the Benedykt brothers, or as they are affectionately known, the three tenors, to come to the stage to make this presentation. This year, the Eliezer Benedykt Scholarship has been awarded to a Victoria University student who is pursuing a Bachelor of Music degree. She lists her hobbies as singing, songwriting, playing guitar, playing netball, and of course, shopping. Would you please welcome and congratulate the 2014 Eliezer Benedykt Memorial Scholarship for Music winner, Meg Sampson.
The time we engraved our names into the tree. Remember that late night walk in the rose you picked me. Remember the tap you broke for me. 'Cause I have faith that the missing puzzle piece will turn up. And I have faith that forever in the tree is true. I have faith for me and you. And I have faith that you believe this too.
Distinguished guests, ladies, gentlemen, brethren, boys and girls. The first thing I'd like to do is congratulate each and every recipient of scholarships that are far-ranging, from small amounts that will make a little bit of a difference to some significant amounts that we trust will make a significant difference to your experience and hopefully inspire you to accomplish something significant with your lives. And I trust that the scholarships perhaps give you the opportunity to create some options for your lives. I spoke to a coaching class a couple of weekends ago, and that was what I suggested that they use as an approach to try and create options for their life moving forward. You don't know what life is going to present you. You may not be strong academically, you may not be strong athletically. Different things will appeal to you at different times of your life, but whatever you do, do it with a bit of passion. and don't be afraid of trying something and not being successful. I won't run through my academic record, which is consistent with that, but stick to it is what I'd suggest. I went through some reasonably good schools up to high school, but was never a very good student. School and I didn't seem to be all that compatible at the time. And so I didn't get into really academic achievements till later on. So I was well entrenched in the workforce, and my bachelor's degree took me an elapsed time of 10 years. It wasn't because I was a slow learner, it was because when you're working and you get married and you start a family and you're studying part-time, it's pretty hard to get that done. So the first thing you'd put off would be your education. So that took me 10 years. It took me probably another 10 years before I thought I'd try anything in the education front ever again, but I did, and I did a master's degree, and I undertook that for one reason, and that was that I'd been in the workforce for an extended period of time and felt that perhaps I wasn't able to mix it with people that had a good academic background. And that turned out to be not the case. It just meant that I had to work a lot harder than they did. So the message from what I'm trying to relay to you is, seize the opportunity while it's there. Before other things in life take over, take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to you. It will pay you back in spades in the decades ahead of you. Freemasons Victoria has, for 125 years in Victoria, been contributing to society and the community in many, many ways. As it says in the cover of the brochure you've got there, just in the last 4 years, the Board of Benevolence has issued in the order of $1 million worth of scholarships to probably something like 450 students. So I thank you for making the time available. I congratulate each and every recipient, and I thank all the parents, grandparents, fathers, brothers, uncles, all the people that came along, and I particularly thank all the people that went to a great deal of effort to put the program together, and I'm talking about the scholarship program and the selection of the recipients. It's not a small task to choose 100 and something people to receive scholarships. And there are people that didn't receive scholarships. So you should feel special that you have got one today. And so the Board of Benevolence and the Scholarship Committee in particular, under Dr. Robin Gray's guidance, has done a phenomenal job. And again, thank you everybody, congratulations and every success for the future.
Hi, I'm Gabrielle Forman, and with me today is Meg Sampson. Thanks for joining us, Meg.
No worries, thanks for having me.
Meg, tell us a little bit about yourself and your interests.
I really enjoy my sport and my music and leadership and everything. Netball is one of my loves, as well as singing and songwriting and all the other things that come along with it.
So now that you've finished school, are you continuing on with netball?
Yeah, I've joined a new club since moving to Melbourne. So that's really exciting to be involved in something else. And
so now that you're finished school and you're entering into your adulthood, singing has obviously started to play a much larger part in your life. Tell me about how you started singing.
Well, I was always interested in it as a kid, and I'd, walk around the house singing and things like that. And I don't know, I guess my parents thought I was all right, so they enrolled me in lessons. And then I started from there, and the music teacher at the time was really interesting and got me doing lots of different things like singing at assembly and all of that, and I kept going on with singing lessons and loved it, and yeah, here I am.
How do you feel about singing in front of large crowds then?
I've always been pretty fine. It's a bit weird, like I've never been one to be vomiting off stage or anything, like been kind of alright. Like, I get nervous in front of smaller, more intimate crowds rather than a larger, you know, unknown crowd, I guess.
And are you writing your own music now?
Yeah, I started writing my first song when I was 9, and that was a bit interesting, but since then I think it's progressed a bit more, and I'm studying songwriting as one of my subjects, and yeah, trying to get into it.
So what themes do you take on when you write songs?
Mostly about like personal things or what I see around me, but a lot of the time it seems to be about love and all that nonsense, but yeah, I don't know.
So from writing songs, you've then delved into guitar. Tell me about your interest in guitar.
Well, as a little kid, my parents wanted me to learn an instrument, as a lot of parents do, so they signed me up in guitar, and I used to hate it. I never really practiced or did anything, but as I started to write songs, I found it was necessary to play guitar. You can't be a songwriter and not play an instrument, really. So I kept going and sort of changed my approach, I guess, and focused more on chords and the songwriting aspect rather than like learning little riffs and all that stuff.
So tell me about your family. You're currently living in Melbourne, but your family live in Nil, is that correct?
Yeah. So I moved to Melbourne this year for university because I lived in a small town called Nil, and there's not many opportunities for further study there, so I moved to Melbourne and go back and visit every few weeks. It's a bit different living away from them, but yeah, we still like keeping contact from texting and all that, so it makes it much easier, but yeah.
Are your parents here tonight?
My mum is, and my grandpa, yeah.
Excellent. So your grandpa's a Freemason?
He is.
Tell me a little bit about your observations of grandpa.
Well, I don't know, he's always been involved in like the local Rotary and all those like community groups, and then there was this thing, Lodge, which as a young person I had no idea really what it was. I just knew that he'd go and, you know, get together with lots of similar people, I guess, and he'd travel around, and yeah, I just sort of thought of it as a good person thing to do, but yeah.
Now that you've received your scholarship or are receiving it tonight, do you have a better understanding of Freemasonry?
A little bit. I'm interested for tonight to hear a bit more about it and be involved in it, but yeah, I guess I'm a bit more aware about it.
Perhaps the benevolent side of things and what Freemasonry does in terms of funding students like yourself.
Yeah.
And your scholarship, what are you going to do with that in the future over perhaps the next 5 years?
It'll be really helpful just in terms of financial support. It's such a big thing to move from a hometown to a big city and have to fund yourself and your university and all that. I think it's also great because it's like reinforced in me that I should be studying music, like made a good choice and I'm capable of doing it. So,
well, it's been fantastic to have you here. I wish you all the best of luck with your scholarship and for your future.
Well, thanks very much.
Thanks.
We're here today at the Freemasons Victoria Scholarship Awards night. With me is past recipient Emily Peel. Emily, you've just presented to the recipients this evening, some of which are receiving their awards for the first time. How did that feel?
It felt quite surreal, actually. You know, I haven't been here for 10 years since when I received my first scholarship in 2005.
And can you tell us a little bit about your history with the scholarships and what you've received over the years?
Sure, so I've received 3 awards over the last 10 years. The first was the King Edward VII Scholarship, which I received in year 11. That one's tenable for 2 years. And then after that was 2007, the Post-Secondary Award. I had finished high school and I was entering university. That one I think was tenable for the first year of my studies, and it really helped me afford, you know, expensive textbooks when I was a broke uni student. Then the third one was the education bursary, which I applied for and received when I was doing my master's degree in 2011. And that was probably the one that had the biggest impact on me because it allowed me to go overseas with the university to work on a real life project in Chile. So that was a fantastic experience.
Can you tell us a little bit about that experience and the project?
Sure, so I was studying the Masters in Urban Planning at the University of Melbourne, and the university encourages students to do what they call travelling studios, where students from the architecture, building and planning faculty can go overseas to various different locations. It changes every year. The year I went it was Chile, and we got to work on a real life project. In my case, it was the Hydro-Ison project, which is a project where the Chilean government and a large corporation are building 5 dams on 2 of Chile's major rivers. And they consulted with the university to try and come up with a concept of a temporary worker settlement, which could be constructed and then deconstructed in stages, so as to leave the smallest possible ecological footprint.
And now I understand that you have a Masonic connection in your family. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So both of my grandfathers were members of their lodges. My paternal grandfather, Lloyd Peel, was a member of the Latrobe Valley Lodge, which I believe no longer exists. He then became a member of the Mont Albert Lodge, and he was an organist for both of his lodges. So he loved music, and he encouraged me to pursue music as a hobby, and I still play the piano today, so that was his influence. My maternal grandfather, Jack Pithouse, was a member of the Civil Service Lodge and then the Oak Park Daylight Lodge, and he also was a member of the scholarships committee, so he was very encouraging of me to apply for a scholarship once he'd finished his service with them, and that's how I've ended up here today.
With me tonight is Blake Callant. He's our scholarship recipient. He's a post-secondary Civic Award recipient and is joining us tonight for our scholarship awards. Thanks, Blake, for coming and joining us tonight.
No worries.
Blake, tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, where you were born.
Okay, I was born in Mount Waverley in Melbourne. I've always been in Melbourne. I went to Sindel South Primary School, just near home. I then progressed to Ashwood College and did year 7 and 8 there, and then did the rest of my high schooling at Melbourne High. Some of my interests, I'm heavily involved in sports. I love politics and sort of international sort of stuff as well. So I'm an active person. So
Blake, you're interested in travelling. Whereabouts would you like to go?
That's right, yeah. So I studied French through high school, and I'd love to sort of explore France and maybe from some French-speaking countries around the world. At the moment, my focus is mainly Europe. So Dad was born in England. I'd love to go to England and sort of see what he saw growing up. I've got family there as well. So maybe I'll start in England and sort of branch out from there.
And your dad's a Freemason?
Yeah, that's right. He calls himself the past junior Grand Deacon. That's his official title. So he's been a Freemason most of my life. I think since I was born.
What have been some of your observations of his time as a Freemason?
Yeah, it's always been a little bit mysterious. He's always sort of come home late in his suit and his gear, but he loves it. He's always been fully attached to Freemasonry. A lot of his friends are involved in it. So he's fully involved and he loves it. In terms of receiving the scholarship tonight, has that given you perhaps a better idea of the benevolent side of Freemasonry? Yeah, it sort of has. This is the second scholarship I've received through Freemasons Victoria, so I'm sort of learning that they're an extremely generous organisation. And have you got any ideas of being more involved in community or charity like your dad is? Yeah, I'd love to. I'm involved with Habitat for Humanity Victoria, and I'd love to continue my work with them. Tell me a little bit about Habitat Victoria. What kind of an organisation is that? Okay, so they're a charitable organisation. They receive their funding through donations from the public, and basically they set out to create a better living environment for people that are struggling. So through my time at Melbourne High School, I was introduced to them, and I was able to go up to Yea. They've got a house, they've got an estate up there where they're building houses for families who have struggled. And basically they ask for volunteers to come up and help them, assisting the tradies there to build houses for families and get them back on track. So what kinds of things are you helping tradies with? Is it carpentry, is it timber work? It's a bit of everything. When we first went up, we were building fences and clearing land, that sort of thing. And in the second and third trips I went on, we sort of actually built the foundation for the house. So we were learning lots of skills as we were there as well. So now that you've received receiving tonight your scholarship, what do you plan on doing with that scholarship? Yeah, so I think this scholarship, it sort of gives me a bit of financial freedom through university. I really want to use this money to sort of achieve my goal of travelling. Basically, this money will allow me to hopefully do a semester abroad in Europe, and and you'll combine the law with the travel, making your international relations totally relevant. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So international relations is sort of a big part of it. So by travelling, I'll be able to continue my studies and also experience the culture at the same time. Excellent.
Blake, I wish you all the best. Congratulations again on receiving a scholarship.
Thanks heaps.
And thank you for tonight.
No worries, it's a pleasure.
Thanks for joining us. To find out more about Freemasonry, visit the Freemasons Victoria website at www.freemasonsvic.net.au or phone us on 1800 Freemason. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Flickr, LinkedIn and Google+. Next week on Freemasons The Inside Story, we take a look at the Melbourne High School Lodge. See you then.